Okay, welcome back to Business Owners Speak. Today, I'm thrilled to have with us Jordan Silverman with Starfish. Jordan, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Matt. How about yourself?
I am well also. Thank you so much for taking the time today. And like we do with everybody, start off by telling us a little bit about you and the business.
Absolutely. So, name is Jordan. I am the CEO and co-founder of Starfish. We are a software company that helps small businesses better understand their costs, benchmark, and lower their costs using AI and tech.
Interesting. And how long's the business been around?
We've been around for about 8 months, and we started really going to market and acquiring our first customers back in November 2023. So let's say 6 months of really in market.
Okay, so new and fresh.
Yes, but the idea has been brewing for a long time.
Yeah.
We've just officially been doing it for that long.
So what were you doing before starting the business?
So I've spent the last 15 years doing startups, the last 10 years doing tech startups, specifically focused on small businesses. So I've kind of run the gambit from running go-to-market teams. So I've done AE, SDR, VP of sales, VP of customer success. I spent the majority of my career at a company called MarketMan. I was there for about 7 years. MarketMan was an inventory software for restaurants, and I was employee number 7 or 8, and it was an amazing experience. When I joined, we had 7 employees, about 25 customers, and when I left, we were 120 employees and 10,000.
Wow.
So we just really grew and scaled tremendously, and that's really where the idea for Starfish was born. But that's also where I just learned and grew up as a person. Also,
Yeah.
it's funny to think like in the time I was there, I moved in with my now wife, got married, had a baby. Like it's amazing what happens in that span of 7 years.
No doubt,
Yeah,
especially in those formidable years, right, where we're
exactly.
becoming an adult.
Exactly.
Are you from Florida originally?
No, from New York originally. Moved down to Florida about 3.5 years ago. My wife was always smarter than me. She's been wanting to move to Florida for a long time because her family has been down here for a while. But it took COVID for me to say, okay, I can do this. And now I'm in a t-shirt and it's April and I got no complaints.
Yeah, no brainer. Um,
Yeah.
all right, so you mentioned the idea has been brewing. Can you explain kind of what that means and kind of your mindset as you, well, I won't put words in your mouth. You tell us how that all came about.
Yeah. So as I said, I spent 7 years at MarketMan running the customer success team, and we grew really nicely, right? And we worked with restaurants, and restaurants consistently asked us two things: where's my money going? And am I doing well compared to my peer set? And MarketMan is an amazing software, and there's a ton of great restaurant tech and small business software out there. But it just kept coming back to the fact that most of these small business owners are using QuickBooks and then Excel. And a lot of them don't analyze the data. They don't need another data source, right? That's the last thing that small business owners need is more data. What they need is something to analyze the data for them. And AI just gives us this really unique opportunity to do that. So this idea has been forming in my head for a long time of I know that small business owners need a way to understand their costs. I just never knew how to actually take that idea and make it an actionable company that could make an impact. And when ChatGPT and other things started coming up, it really was just like this amazing moment for me where I said, I can take this idea and I can actually run on it. Now, the initial idea we had is very different than where the company is today, even in 6, 7 months. But the solution the problem that we're trying to solve has never changed of how can we help small business owners be more profitable?
Mhm.
That's our goal.
And so the solution, in your past, do you write code? Like what kind
It's a
of
great
gave you
question. Yeah.
yeah.
So no is the answer. I'm not a developer. I'm very lucky to have an amazing co-founder, Suresh, who does all of the development. So him and his team make the product, and then it's my job to figure out how to sell, service, and do everything else with the product. So the way the system actually works is we integrate into your accounting system, QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, Restaurant 365, any of those, pull out your data, your transactions, your P&L, and then we run AI on top of it. And we're doing a couple things. The first thing that our customers have really been liking is we're giving you tasks. So instead of just having your P&L, we actually analyze the P&L and give you tasks on how you can lower your costs and increase your profits. And then the second thing we're doing is benchmarking you to competitors. So we're showing you how much are other competitors spending on your categories. An example of like tasks, and again, we're lucky where all of our customers have actually been saving money using the system. But an example of tasks are got a 6 location concept. They have 5 of their locations running pretty much the same utilities bill. But this one outlier location was spending 3x on utilities as the other 5 restaurant locations. They had no idea. We assigned them a
How would
task.
you?
Yeah, exactly. We assigned them a task and said, hey, this location utilities bill is spiking. Go to the location and check it out. Turns out the location in the kitchen had the AC cranking and the back door open. They closed the back door. Next month, $1,000 decrease in utilities bill at that one location.
Wow.
So tangible difference. So we're really trying hard to not just say, here's a better P&L, here's better reporting. We're trying to give you tasks and actions that you can actually take in real life to lower your costs and increase your profits. That's what we really think.
And are you focused on restaurant industry specifically, or are you agnostic to industry?
It's a great question. About 90% of our customers are restaurants. So we do have non-restaurants. We have all different kinds of small business owners, but restaurants seem to be the core of what we've been building so far.
Okay. And I'm curious because I think the way I think about that is, okay, you've solved a problem for the company that or the restaurant that needs to close the back door, right?
Yep.
How do you build kind of longevity after you've taught the owners and the managers to look at the P&Ls, understand them, do their tasks that you're assigning? How do you see yourself remaining sticky,
Yep.
in the future?
Yeah. It's such a good question. And I think it's something, and I think my answer to that will evolve as the company evolves, right? But right now we are very focused on costs. So how can we actually help you lower your costs, which increases your profits? I think our vision is like a combination of Power BI and ChatGPT without the prompting. So imagine we're pulling in all of your data sets automatically, and then we're running the AI on top of it and giving you these automated tasks. And it's not just about how do you decrease costs, but also about how do you increase revenue. So today we've been lucky where we've been able to continue to save our customers money month over month. But I think your question, Matt, is really spot on. And I think as we add more data sets, we'll just become stickier and stickier for our customers because it'll be about more than just decreasing costs. It'll be about increasing revenue and really just building a better business.
Sure. Can you explain what Power BI is?
Absolutely. So there's this whole, so like I come from tech software and basically you have all of these disparate data sources. So for a small business, you have your POS, your labor system, an inventory system, your accounting system. None of them work together. So what a lot of companies do is they use something called a data warehouse. Power BI is just an example of a data warehouse. Now, the problem is, and I've used Power BI, it's freaking hard. Like it has its own programming language. Like it's not something that the majority of small business owners are going to be able to do. So what we're trying to do is just give small business owners the tools that these large companies already have. These large companies, whether it be retail, restaurants, tech, they've got FP&A teams, financial planning and analysis. They've got data teams. They've got analytics. But to me, the great thing about where we are today in 2024 is the democratization of software, where all of the software that used to only be available to these large companies is now becoming available to small businesses. And I think if small business owners can get back to spending time with customers, looking at how to grow the business, and less time on data analytics, everyone's going to win, including the consumer.
Yeah, most small business owners with that many softwares, we're just trying to keep our logins straight.
It's
Much less,
crazy, right? I
much less,
know.
yeah. And
Yeah.
what we see all the time is small business owners with multiple softwares, and they have a 10% knowledge of how to utilize it to its full capability because they don't have the time to learn it, right? So under having something that kind of conglomerates everything would
Yeah.
certainly be helpful.
And I think it might sound a little counterintuitive. Sorry. I think this might sound a little counterintuitive, but we're actually building Starfish to be a software that you don't have to log into regularly.
Hmm.
Because I think what's happening is there's so many softwares out there and everyone is trying to sell software to small businesses, but small businesses don't want another login, as you said. They don't want another software. My vision is you log into Starfish once a week, twice a week, that's it. And everything else is us proactively pushing you tasks, proactively pushing you, here are the actions to take to improve the business. I don't want you having to spend hours analyzing data. I don't want you having to log in or set up all your That's not our goal. Our goal is that if you give us the data, we know that with our AI and our technology, we can run on top of it and give you the tasks proactively because you don't want another login, as you're saying.
Right.
Could not agree more.
Right. Um, you know, what's interesting is you mentioned future potentially revenue, because AI comes out and everyone's thinking time and revenue, right? Not a
Yeah.
lot of people are thinking how to applicate it to expenses. And so
Yep.
for you being, you kind of have to be an ROI business where it's like, well, Jordan, why bring on Starfish for X amount if I'm going to save Y amount and it's not going to cover? So how do you kind of handle that conversation?
Yeah. We have a 90-day money back guarantee. So like if we're not saving you at least 5x what you spent in the first 90 days, we'll give you your money back and you can cancel anytime. Fortunately, we have not had a single person that has taken advantage of that because we've been able to save our customers at least 5x what they're spending with us. Now, most softwares are aiming for a 3 to 4x ROI, right? Our goal is 5 to 10x. Like whatever you're spending with us, we think we should be returning 5 to 10x. And remember, when you're cutting costs, it goes directly to the bottom line profit. And when I say cutting costs, I'm not talking about just like cutting ahead. Like, you know what the best way to become profitable is? Cut your costs and cut someone. But that's short-sighted. Like that's not how you do it. I'm talking about making material changes that'll actually impact the business month over month.
Yep. So what do you see as you're talking to more small business owners and looking at P&Ls, and what are you seeing as some of the most common mistakes or oversights that business owners are making right now?
I want to tell a quick story about one of our first customers. So this is early on, right? They were like one of our first customers. We connected their QuickBooks online and they showed that they had a $50,000 loss last month. And I reached out to the CEO and I said, hey, like, I'm not sure if the integration is correct. You guys, it shows that you guys had a $50,000 month loss last month. Is that correct? And CEO, he turns to me and says, I don't know. I'd have to ask the bookkeeper. So to me, the biggest thing that we're seeing is almost all small businesses are using external bookkeepers. And
Yep.
I would do the same thing. In my history, that is what I've done. And that is probably what we'll do at Starfish also, right? Of just like outsourcing the bookkeeping because they're better at it and frees up your time. But that doesn't mean you don't need a basic understanding of your numbers.
Right.
And I think so many small business owners we talk to, they're afraid to log into QuickBooks. They don't want to mess it up. They don't want to edit something they're not supposed to. So having a read only where we're ingesting data from QuickBooks but not pushing anything back, simple dashboards, giving you basic understanding of where your money's going is really important so you can then take action on it. So it's number one, understanding your costs, and number two, using those proactive tasks to take action and actually become more profitable.
Yeah, you use the word afraid, and that is so, so true. Not just to screw it up, but also afraid of what it's going to say,
Yeah.
right? And if
Yep.
we bury our head in the sand, we don't have to deal with that.
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
all right. So eight months in or so, and you mentioned the business is already kind of changing based on need. As you look forward, you're a young guy, you got a lot of time to go. What do you see for Starfish in the future?
I think one of the things that a lot of tech companies have are long setup periods, long ROI. Like I remember at Market Man, like it's an amazing product, but it almost felt like you were working for the product, not the product working for you, where you were investing so much time. And then as you invested time, the product became better. So our long-term vision is we ingest all of your data under 10 minutes of setup for you, and then you can proactively improve the business. Our goal is help as many small businesses as possible. The closure rate of small businesses, and you know this, Matt, is
Mhm.
astronomical. And it's not because they're not good ideas. It's not because they're not making good revenue, because they're not consistently making a profit. So our long-term vision is to help as many small businesses reach profitability as possible so we can lower that closure rate and improve the overall small business ecosystem.
Sure.
If you look at the percentage of restaurants that in 10 years ago were chains compared to now, they're all chains now. That small business doesn't really exist anymore. And I think that's something that's missing from the culture. And I really want to help that.
Interesting. So, Jordan, as a new small business owner, how about some words of wisdom from what you've experienced over the last, even say year as leading up to it, that you
Yeah.
can provide other small business owners?
When I was working for someone else, I used to have good days and bad days. We all do, right? As a small business owner, I have good hours and bad hours. Everything moves so fast. So I think my tip is number one, be ready to work really hard. Now, I've never been happier at work, and I've also never worked harder because you're building something, and that's such an amazing experience. So I think my first tip is be ready to work hard. And then my second tip is just it's a roller coaster ride, and you have to be ready to go on the roller coaster. Make sure that you have a really good supporting team behind you that understands and supports the journey. Like I'm lucky where like I've got an amazing wife, I've got an amazing family who are extremely supportive of what I'm building here because it takes sacrifice and it takes the roller coaster ride. So number one, be ready to work hard, and number two, be ready for that roller coaster because it's
Buckle
coming.
up.
Yep.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all really good stuff, Jordan. And you're clearly passionate about what you're doing, and it sounds like that the why is in a good place because it's to help small business owners. So,
Yeah.
really appreciate your time this morning. And Starfish is the business. Keep an eye out for it, small business owners. It's one extra layer of support and insurance, right? And so we really appreciate your time and wish you the best of luck as you grow this business.
Awesome, Matt. This is great. Great. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.